What's going on, everybody? Tim Meister here. The city of Oxbourg has grown exponentially over the last few episodes, and it is time, finally, that we start investing into some proper public transit, because as it stands right now, we have one singular bus line in the entire city that runs from Hillside. Oh, hang on a second. You guys can barely see that. Let me just boost the brightness a little bit. So we have this one singular line. Oh, wait, did that not work? Oh, okay, I guess it just highlights it when I have the line open. Anyways, so yeah, we have this one line that heads right over here in Hillside, right by the beach, and it follows this main arterial road right through Barlow Island, which eventually leads to this main little bus station over here just next to Old Town. Now, it's doing its job just fine. We have, I guess, a fair amount of ridership. We're getting 84% usage out of the line, which is very healthy. And yeah, so we're good and we're covered along this major arterial route. But that leaves the rest of the city without any public transit options. So we're going to be fixing that problem today. We're going to be building buses, trams. This is going to be really exciting. But before I jump into any of that, I just want to highlight one thing. And that is, if you haven't noticed it already, this beautiful Major League Baseball stadium smack dab in the middle of the city. This was built in an exclusive episode to YouTube members and Patreons just before this episode. Now, this is why I'm showcasing it here for those of you who aren't members or Patreons. I still want to give you guys the chance to take a gander and take a peek at this wonderful creation here right in the middle of the city. But if you want to see how I built this stadium, you're going to have to become a member or check it out on Patreon. Now, disclaimer, I don't want to start paywalling content or anything like that. It's just I want to give the best value to the people who want to support the channel further by providing a couple of exclusive perks, such as this episode here. But here it is, guys. Here is the beautiful stadium in all of its glory. We finally found a use for this big chunk of empty land right in the middle of the city, and I was able to fit this big stadium in a really, really great spot. I still can't believe I managed to fit this where it is. But yeah, it's super cool. It features a tunnel system with this highway leading under it. You know, that was quite a feat, quite an undertaking. But, you know, zooming out here, you can see that it just blends beautifully well within the city. So anyways, that's enough for that. Let's finally jump into this episode, and I'm going to get things started with our bus network. Now, a few episodes ago, I built this main local bus station. So this is going to be kind of our main hub for the downtown region. But then we also have this little bus station over here that we can't ignore. This is kind of a major tourist hub, as it's sitting smack dab between the Notre Dame as well as the entirety of Old Town. So we're going to see a lot of traffic coming through here. Now, the line that I want to get started on in this episode. All right, so Hamilton's a fresh new district. We kind of have our downtown Hamilton over here. We have our college campus over in this corner. So we're going to service all of those areas. And let's start off by building some North American bus shelters. And we're going to follow along this main corridor here. So we're going to start things off. Let's just simply start off the line at this little bus station. We're going to connect it up to this big bus station in just a moment. So let's have our very first stop right over here in the industrial sector. Lots of jobs over here, lots of commuters. And over here, this might be quite interesting. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this bus shelter. And we're going to have this bus route. Here, I'm going to add a stop the next block over. And then we're going to make a right turn. And we're going to go up this road. And then let's have a stop right here in front of the college campus. And then we're going to turn around, completely go around the campus. We'll have this bus stop servicing the sports complex. And then we'll add another one just up the road, which is going to service whatever will become of this. And then finally, we're going to head into downtown Hamilton. We're going to go around downtown. And this, in effect, is creating a loop, which is not ideal in most situations, but this is going to be a relatively short line, I believe. So we're going to run this segment of the line back on itself, which is going to go to this main bus terminal and then end again at our little tourist station. So how does that look, guys? You know, we're going to have a line going up here, up this road, and then we're going to have a simple loop. I could shorten the loop, I guess, but then having a stop over here on this main corridor leaves some room for some transferability, because I'm sure there's going to be some bus lines running through this main corridor. So I think I'm going to leave it as is, and we'll see how that goes. So I'm going to pause the game. We're going to get started on our first line here, if I can get it to go into this first stall. And then we're going to go to the main bus terminal. And then let's connect up all of our stations. Oh my god, what is going on here? Oh! Shoot. Oh, I know what's happening. It's because I have a one-way going in this direction. What I could do is simply convert this little segment of road into a two-way street, and then I'm just gonna beef up the sidewalks a little bit, make that look better. And now we're gonna attempt this for a second time, so let's get started. Oh yeah, I think this is gonna function way better. There we go. All right, so these stops might be a little close together, but that's okay. And then we'll loop back. Can I do this? Can I loop back? Add waypoint. Okay, yeah, that looks like it's gonna work. And there we go. There's our first route. Beautiful. So the only thing that's gonna be kind of confusing, I mean, not that the game really cares, but as a passenger in real life, you'll just have to make sure that the bus that you're hopping on is going in the right direction, because there's going to be two stops at this stall going in two separate directions. So let's take our second line here. Let's call this the, I guess, Hamilton line. And then obviously let's change the color of this line to a bright red. And there we go. Let's hit play. And we'll see how this plays out. Okay, so that's it for the first line. Second line is, I guess we could just kind of like go through downtown. It's kind of weird though. In a way, yes, we need this bus infrastructure, but the city is still kind of small to get like a really complicated bus network going. So I think I'm just going to keep things simple by building maybe two lines to get us started. And then we're going to move on to the trams. So same thing. I think I'm going to start off this bus line in Old Town. And then this line is going to service downtown going south. So this side is south. So yeah. Let's start it off over here on Barlow Island. No, maybe we don't want that as a major hub. You know, that's a residential island. We don't want too much traffic there. But I still kind of want a bus line going through Old Town. But maybe the trams could service Old Town. I think that would look kind of cool, you know, with the whole Old Town theme. So I guess, yeah, we're just going to start things off again at this little tourist station. We'll add a stop at the main station. And the rest, well, we'll just kind of run it through the middle of downtown, I guess. So, yeah, let's add a couple of stops here along this main arterial road. Another couple stops here. Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to keep it simple. Have a couple stations across the bridge. Have one more here. And then I'm going to have to create a turnaround point. Temporarily. So what I'll do is I'll just build out the little spur like this. And then here, let's just make this into a bus route. So this is really temporary, guys. Don't shout too loud at your screen asking me what the heck is going on here. This is literally for the buses to turn around, because this line is going to extend past this whole area. You know, this bus line is going to end up in like this area eventually. Oh my god, we got another death wave going on. Another wave of COVID is running through town. Except nobody got sick, they just died. Alright, let's get this started. Alright, so first stop, the main station. And then we're just gonna head on over into this direction. And then we're gonna turn around just like this. And then again, we'll go back to the main station and end things at our small local station. And then we are going to change the color of this line to, let's do like kind of a dark blue, I suppose. We'll call this Downtown South. There we go. Running along 4.4 kilometers, 11 stops, relatively short line. We're going to build one more bus line. So we're going to start this line over at the main station. We're going to go down to this little station. So we're going to overlap two lines on the same stalls. And then basically I'm just going to run towards the western part of downtown. All right, so then this bus line will go in this direction. I guess I'll add a station right here at the CN Tower. Oh yeah, I think I have an idea what's gonna happen. This is gonna be pretty cool. Oh crap, that's not gonna work. The street just ends. And then this street goes under this overpass. Oh, okay. So, scratch that. I'm gonna remove this stop. This stop can stay. I'm kind of reluctant to build a bus stop, like, along the water here, because that's kind of pointless. But I guess we have no choice, so I'm gonna build it anyway. Or actually, no, I'm gonna build it, like... We'll build it here. At least we're gonna build it beside some park space. Yeah, and then we're gonna turn back into town. There. Kind of like this. And then we're gonna go parallel to where we were before. So you don't have to walk very far. Oh geez, what is happening here? Okay, this is kind of weird. I think what I'll have to do here is transform this into, I'll do a 3-lane asymmetrical road, just like this. Oh wait, no, that doesn't make any sense here. I'm just gonna do a 2-lane road. I'm gonna add a little bit of grass. Oh, look at this, Grove Street, beautiful. So then, oh shoot, yeah, this is messed up because I'm I'm trying to get back into this direction, and the one-ways are all going in the wrong direction. There's like literally nothing I can do. Okay, so this is 2-lane roads. These should be one-ways heading in this direction. There, that makes a little more sense. But the problem is, if this one-way was heading in the opposite direction, that would fix all of my problems. Yeah, okay, this is a little challenging here. This is pretty weird. Because you always want to have, like, reversing one-ways for each block. So what's going to happen here is, I'm going to put this bus stop here. So then we're going to lose this one. And then the bus is going to turn here, servicing this block, which is very important. And then we're going to make our way down this street. There we go. I think we're back on track now. There, that, I think, should work. I'm going to add a second stop right here, and then I'm going to connect this one here. So I know it's relatively close to this stop, but it just allows for maximum transferability. And I think that should be good. So this is going to kind of go around the perimeter of downtown. There, so this new line is going to service kind of like the perimeter of downtown. And then the central part of downtown will be serviced by the trams. So there's going to be a little bit of overlap between the trams and the buses. But I think it's going to work out pretty good. And actually, I'm just thinking now, why wouldn't I extend this bus line to this side of the canal just to provide some public transit. So I'm going to remove this stop. And okay, so our bus is going to be running along this road. We could have them make a right up here. That's a pretty sharp right for a bus. Perhaps I want to do this. So if I remove a couple trees. There, so I'm going to transform this into a 3-laner. Then we're going to do one-way road. And then we're going to do a little something like this. There we go. We're going to remove these parking spaces. And I think that should work pretty well. So now I can just go ahead and remove all these unnecessary traffic lights. I'm going to remove some of these crosswalks. This area is just a little too busy. I'll remove this crosswalk as well. There, so that'll make it much, much more manageable for a bus that wants to turn right. So the bus is going to turn right. And I guess might as well just add a stop here. Add a stop up here on the hill. And then how are we going to cross back into town? Well, I think it's going to turn out quite simple, actually. So then we'll have the bus going here. And then once more right here. And then the bus is simply going to make a left turn, go back into downtown. So we're simply making a little bit of a loop. Yeah, so at least we'll have some service over on this side of the island. And it will allow for some transferability down the road. You know, we may have to reconfigure some of these bus routes eventually. But that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. So now let's just connect everything together. And then this, I presume, is going to be a much longer line than the other two that we've built today. Yeah, this line is much more all over the place. And it's kind of in a loop configuration, which isn't always ideal, but we'll get started with this. And then, what do I call this line? I guess just downtown for now. Oh wow, it's actually not that long. And then let's paint this in a kind of orange brownish color. And there we go. We'll see how this line pans out. Actually, I'm going to remove the word line on these lines. It's kind of pointless. There. All right. So downtown south, 0% ridership so far, but it's probably because I've been paused for most of this time. And there we go. So meanwhile, let's get into the trams portion of this episode. Alrighty. So the trams, this is going to be really, really tough, I'm thinking, because look at this. Look at the massive size of the tram depot. We can't just plop this anywhere. You know, I kind of just want the trams to service downtown. But where do you put a tram station is the question, right? So, do we find a temporary spot for this, or do we find a full-time spot? You know, I could build it kind of more on the outskirts of town. Let's see. I guess over here wouldn't be too bad. Because, I mean, we're going to have to plop this somewhere. You know, if I plop it over here, that means we can have some service over in Hamilton. Yeah, maybe we can do that. Let's try it. Let's plop it over here. Okay, so we have our tram connection. So what I'll do is we're going to turn left. How nice would this play? Oh, all right. So I could actually have a tram line heading right along the this main corridor here. Do I want to do that? I mean, that would give us the best usage out of this line. That would be pretty cool. Although it would still be pretty cool to have some tracks going right through downtown Hamilton as well. But then, you know, we have this bridge, which isn't compatible because this is kind of a highway. And yeah, you don't really want trams going along this. You know, this is very car-centric infrastructure up here. So maybe we'll scratch that. But it doesn't mean we can't have like a separate line servicing Hamilton as well. So yeah, let's do that. I'm going to turn right. I'm going to go up here. We're going to connect to this huge arterial road. Just like this. Hopefully this plays nice with the highway. Okay, that's not too bad. Yeah, I don't like cars being parked there. Let's fix that. Oh, this is really exciting, guys. I'm so happy that... Oh, no! Is it going to remove the median? Oh, not really. The median's still going to be there. It just widens it a little bit. Oh, yeah. Okay, this is not bad. All right, so now we're downtown. What do we do here? Oh, what do we have here? It looks like our intersection's a little messed up. There, boom, fixed. And then from here, what I'll do is, this is where things are gonna split off. So we'll have one track going in this direction. And we're just gonna make a simple loop. So I'm gonna have this going just like this, and then we'll turn back. And there we go. So essentially what I'll start off by doing is having a track just go in a straight line. We'll have a little bit of a loop here. So this is a perfect location because it's right behind the Notre Dame. It's but a block away from, you know, Old Town. I don't think we have to go any closer than that. And plus, I mean, Old Town will be serviced by another line. So there we go. So I've got my stop over here. Oh, it looks like it didn't quite connect. There we go. So from here, I'll add another stop. I guess right behind the Notre Dame. I think that's all right. And do I add another stop right here? I suppose I could, because this one could service the convention center. Yes, very nice. But then if I add a stop... Yeah, I guess I'll just add one like this. No sense having like a bunch of them close together like that, so I think that should be good. And then I have a bunch of stops going back in this direction. I think that should be good. So let's get started on our first line, shall we? Let's pause the game. Oh my god, yeah, this is gonna be weird. There, so we'll have a stop here, another one here. We'll go across the bridge. By the way, I gotta fix these pillars, guys. I am aware of this. I don't know how it happened or whatever. I'm sure it's just a matter of destroying the bridge and building it again. But just be aware that I am aware. And there we go. We'll just complete our little loop. Just like so. All right, well, there we go. We have our first line. Might as well just keep it pink. Looks very nice. So now let's get started on the second one. And like I said in the beginning, I want there to be a line servicing Old Town, although I don't know how that's going to be possible because look at the slopes that we have here. Oh, you know what? Maybe this area would have been better serviced with a bus. You know, maybe a bus just kind of looping around. Maybe we can add that to one of our existing lines. That might be the call in this case. Because I don't really see how we're going to pull this off. But anyways, let's not worry too much about that. Let's get started on our second tram line. So we have our first one that's running along this main corridor. Let's have a second one that's just kind of looping around downtown, I suppose. Or multiple. So we can have one going east to west, and then we can have another one, or I suppose this would be north-south, because north is in this direction. As you can see, my little compass mod up here, very beautiful. So we could say this is north-south, this is east-west. So let's build our tram lines. So I'm going to build them along this main artery. Actually, yeah, hang on. I think I know how I'm going to do this. Okay, after much deliberation, this is what I'm going to do. So, I have this little loop here is going to be the terminus station of the line that we're working on. And actually, instead of building a loop and then going back in this direction, this is a genius move that I thought of, guys. So we're going to keep this line going. Because why not provide some transferability with our existing purple line that heads east to west? So in this case, I can simply remove this track because it's no longer needed. And the whole reason why I thought of this in the first place was I just thought this was like a really tight turn for a tram. I don't know if it actually is, but I just think it is. So I'm just going to remove this little section of track. So instead of... well, actually, there's no use in having it, like, do this weird detour. So I might as well just remove these set of tracks. And then I'll just add one here. And then we'll have a station, or a stop, rather, right over here. So, yeah. So this is going to give us a little bit more transferability. And it's just going to clean things up a bit more. So continuing on, after we make our... decent sized loop, we're going to continue along this main arterial road. And then what left me kind of perplexed is what happens once we reach here, because I could have gone towards the right and serviced this whole area, but I'm not going to do that because we already have buses heading in this direction. So I'm going to head over in this direction, and this is kind of where I'm at. There's two options. So I have this long tunnel actually that goes under the BQE, goes under this entire neighborhood, and pops out the other end over here, which will eventually become a medium density neighborhood, much like what we've seen so far, you know, in Hamilton and the surrounding areas. So the question remains, do we go in this area off in this direction, or do we keep going straight and end up somewhere over here? And actually, what I've been meaning to do is I'm going to remove this road, and this is kind of going to be a spoiler. So if any of you guys don't want to hear it, now's the time to plug your ears, but I'm sure you don't really care. So within this whole city block, this is going to be kind of like Oxbourg's Central Park. Now, it's of course not nearly the size of Central Park in New York, but it's going to be a fair-sized park. And I really like the idea that a lot of you have presented with me, making this whole area a massive campus. So I'm thinking on the other side of this big park, I'm going to build a university campus right outside of downtown. I think this would look really cool. It's a very historic part of downtown. So I'm going to take you guys up on that. But anyways, before I get carried away, do we want to service this road, or do we want to head over in this direction here? I'm thinking probably more over here, just because we can kind of fill in the gaps with some buses. You know, maybe you can rotate between having trams and then buses and then trams and then buses, and then perhaps we'll have some more trams over here at some point, you know, just to diversify downtown a little bit. And plus, I think it's going to be a little easier and simpler expanding over in this direction because we have nothing built. However, I want to take a moment to start to do a little bit of upgrading. And I'm going to upgrade this little 2-lane road into a 4-lane. So bear with me for just a quick moment. I'm just going to scooch the school over just a tiny bit, which is completely filled, by the way. I should probably look into addressing that. And now we're going to upgrade our little road sections here. Make sure this is in a proper bridge. And let's fix this mess. This is kind of messed up. Let's do this. And then I'm going to remove the traffic light, I guess, for both the off and on ramps. No sense having a light for the on ramp. And I guess that'll do it for this little intersection. And the reason why I'm upgrading this road is I want this to be kind of a main arterial route in this part of downtown. Oops. Because it's very central to this whole little peninsula area. And then what'll happen over here is I'm going to continue this road straight for just a little bit. Just like so, and then we'll make it turn and then intersect with our tunnel. And this is going to set the precedence for this neighborhood. And then furthermore, here, let's just go full on out. I'm just going to remove this segment of track. And that 4-lane road that was leading from downtown is going to end up right over here. So let's flatten this out. We'll do some more landscaping when the time comes. But for now, this is what's going to happen. Yeah, I suppose I'll do that for now. We'll keep this going straight. Just like this. And then just like this. Oh, actually, what if I keep going in the same direction? Will it meet up? Not exactly, but pretty darn close. Sweet. How is that? That's pretty good. All right, so let's smooth this out just a little bit, just to make it a bit easier for the trams. There, beautiful. So that creates a bit of a shortcut. Oh my god. It's a pretty crazy loop. Hillside Street. But yeah, so now this arterial road kind of creates a shortcut between Hamilton and this side of downtown. So no longer do you have to like go on the highway and whatever. And there's already some traffic using it. Beautiful. All right, so let's get back into it. So I've got my tracks laid out here. And now the tricky situation is going to be, how do we get to this tunnel? So the first thing I'll do is bus a right. Oh shoot, I'm gonna have no choice but to make like a really sharp... Oh, this is interesting. So we're gonna head down this hill. I'm really hoping that this is not too much of a slope. I don't think so. It's not that bad. But let's see here. If I think I can get this to work. This is gonna be pretty cool. All right, so let me go into my one-way pedestrian street. I'm going to turn this around somehow without destroying the entire thing here. Is this going to work? Yes. I don't really like what it's done to the river, but there we go. Easy fix. And I'm going to remove this little path. And now what I'll do is this. Oh yeah, look at that, guys. Is this gonna be cool or what? There we go. That creates a beautiful smooth slope to which we can connect to then make a really tight right turn. Not ideal. Can we... I'm gonna change this into... I mean, this is totally subjective. I don't need to do this, but this is just kind of for looks. Let's do this. And I suppose why not? I guess I could do this, add some lanes. Just like so. And then it's probably still going to be a super tight turn. Yeah, this is just as bad. Uh-oh, is this not going to work? Oh, no. Wait, it's probably the nodes and stuff. Hang on. I'm going to pause the game. If I reconstruct this bridge now between these two spots and then try to rebuild this tram connection, is this going to work? I don't know. Uh-oh, guys. This might not work. Here. What if I destroy this? Go back into my roads. There we go. We'll try to reconnect this. Oh my god. And then we'll reconnect this. Beautiful. Will this work? Oh no, that's terrible. Maybe it's too sharp of a turn. Okay, well, I tried. Yeah, so this works. A median it will be. But actually, I have to make sure that this is a double track, just like so. There we go. So that might actually help out with the slight curve as well. Oh no! Now this has totally removed a lot of car lanes. Yeah, I didn't really think about that. Now is this just gonna be like a one-lane road going in each side? Oh yeah, this is gonna be tough. Oh, how is this gonna play with the tunnel? Okay, let's start on this end. And I'm losing my median, of course, which I kind of wanted, but that's okay. We'll make it work. Oh, this is scary. Okay, let's go into tunnel mode. Oh, God. Okay, might not be so bad. And then let's remove ourselves from tunnel mode. Oh my god, this is so much cooler. Look at that. So instead of having one split, we have like these two support columns. That's pretty cool. Wow. Anyways, so I'm just going to add some tracks here. This will be the terminus station for this line. For now, it's going to keep going in this direction. Same as the university line. It's going to continue going. Now, what do we do here? So we're going to split into a one-way, just like so. So we get to keep our 3 lanes here, which is quite all right. And now we need to meet back up. Oh yeah, this isn't so bad at all. So then this line will... okay, how do I do this? We're going to keep going in this direction. And then I can simply turn around here, I suppose. But then this is a quite steep slope. This road's not quite as bad. I don't know. Do trams go uphill? Actually, yeah, they do. I totally forgot about San Francisco. Yeah, there you go. Beautiful. Okay. Well, I think that's good, guys. Now let's start laying down our stops. So, oh yeah, that's right. We got to add our tram stops. Well, we're going to add one right here in front of the Notre Dame. And then we're going to add another. I don't really need another over in this corner, but I should add one right here. So that'll serve as the convention center. And then I'll add a couple right by this bus stop. And then another couple right by this beautiful park, very central. Why don't I add one right here, right by the coast? That'd be beautiful. And then the last one over here before looping back to this side of town. Now we have a little bit of a slope. Oh no, we have no slope here. This is completely flat. So I'm gonna add this. And then we kind of loop around the neighborhood and we'll connect back up over here. Beautiful. Oh my god, guys, this is really exciting. I'm hoping this episode is not too long and drawn out for you guys, but I'm just having a blast right now. There, so let's get some stops going along this main road. Nice, beautiful slope. And then we're gonna loop back into this direction. Perfect. Another one here. Another one here. So here we can transfer from the bus stop to the tram system. One more stop right by the convention center before completing the loop over here. That is quite awesome. And I think that's pretty good. I think that's good coverage for downtown. You know, we got buses kind of weaving about in between all of these streets, and then the trams kind of cover the rest. Yeah, I think we're pretty good. All right. So now let me go into my lines. I don't know what to name them. Because like this area doesn't have a name yet. I think I'm gonna postpone the naming of these tracks. But look at this. Already they're getting some usage. But let's at least change the color. Let's have this a nice bright lime green. 92 passengers. And then we'll just have to give line number 2 a moment to get all ramped up. But let's check our bus line to see what kind of... oh my god, look at this. Hillside is already at 103% with 6 buses and 12 stops. So we're going to want to open our menu here. And look at that. Our buses are all filled up. We're definitely going to want to assign probably even 2 more buses to this route. I didn't expect it to get this much usage. But I mean, we're servicing like the entirety of Hillside, so that's good. But what else do we have? We have the downtown line, which is, which one? Oh yeah, this kind of brown line. It's a little hard to see, but this line is already at 97% usage. Perhaps we want to assign 1 more bus to this line, because this line is kind of a weird shape. It's kind of looping through downtown. You know, it's kind of servicing downtown in a very diagonal east-west, north-south kind of fashion. It's kind of all over the place. But that's good that it's getting a really high usage. Okay, and then what about here? So we're getting a 47% usage out of this one. Not too bad. That probably means that we can lower the amount of buses that are on this line to, let's do 4 for now. You know, we don't want to do too few buses because then people are not going to use the line as much because there's just not as many buses. And then the Hamilton line at 81%, that's a very healthy amount. But look at that, overall there's well over, close to 2,000 people using the bus system so far. So that's really great to see. Now how about our trams? Let's take a look at that. We have our 2 lines here. Oh, wow, okay, not great. 8% and 6% respectively. That's kind of unfortunate, but I guess one way we can do to increase the the usage is to reduce the assigned vehicles. I think that should help. Does it help? I'm not really sure. Or do we increase the frequency by increasing the amount of assigned vehicles? That might actually promote the tram system a bit more. Let's see how that works. Let's increase this to 6 trams, making them super frequent, and then we'll do the same thing over here on the green line. So we'll boost this up to 5, I guess, or yeah, let's do 5. May as well. How many vehicles do we have in our station over here anyways? We've got up to 10 vehicles, so might as well make use of all of them. Yeah, all right. So, well, in this case, I think I'm going to have to take 1 away because I assigned 1 too many. So let's fix that. Let's just do 5 and 5 there. So I think that should fix us up. And there we have it. Well, at least the system is functional. And I mean, as the city's population increases furthermore and we start to develop the areas around downtown, I suspect that the tram usage will go up. But for now, totally fine. We can afford it. Uh-oh. What do we got going on here? No vehicles. Okay, well, I think I fixed that. Let's just double check. Okay, so we have 10 vehicles at our disposal. And then if I go back into my lines here, I wish there was a better way to do this. The menu is not very intuitive. All right, so we've got 5 trains on the pink line. And then let's check the green line. We have 5 vehicles here as well, so that should total 10 vehicles. Oh, okay, yeah, that error has just disappeared, so we're good. But there you go, guys. That will do it for this episode. I really hope you enjoyed it. And let's just take another quick little gander here before we end this episode, just to see if this made any difference. Oh, it actually has. Look at that. The number of passengers appears to have gone up a little bit. Our usage is down, but I think because of the added frequency to both of these lines, ridership is up slightly. So, yeah, okay. I think it's overall a success. Let's just quickly take another peek at our bus system so you can see that our usage is down in certain cases, but I think that is probably just a result of increasing the number of buses on certain lines. And I mean, it may not be rush hour. Yeah, it's midnight right now, so this is probably going to fluctuate quite a bit, as will the tram lines. But yeah, there we go, guys. So that'll do it for now. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you so much to my channel supporters, to my Patreons, and just to my regular viewers too. I really appreciate you guys tuning in, and I really enjoy your engagement when you leave comments and all those nice things. So if you enjoyed this episode, guys, don't forget to drop a like, leave a comment, let me know what you think. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support the channel further, you can now become a YouTube member or a Patreon. So I have both of those platforms up and running. And there's some pretty cool perks if you want early access to all of my videos. I got some exclusive content on there now, and you get early access to all my videos. Shout out to all my patrons and YouTube members. You guys are absolutely awesome. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care, everyone.